Brian.
Union leaders and tradespeople organized a rally against the temporary foreign worker program on March 29th at Canada Place. The TFWP is administered by the federal government, allowing foreign workers to work temporarily in Canada. It allows Canadian employers to address labor shortages by hiring temporary foreign workers. However, the protesters allege that the current labor shortages are non-existent and that the TFWP opens the door for exploitation.
Over the last 2 months, we've heard from academics, from researchers, from policy analysts, from coast to coast to coast, all saying that this is a program that is built on lies. You know, it's gotten to be so obvious. It's so obvious that this is a program out of control that even the right-wing Fraser Institute, which is usually firmly in the corner of business, has come out with a report saying that the temporary foreign worker program is distorting the Canadian labour market and driving down wages. You know that you're on the right side of an issue when even the Fraser Institute is agreeing with you. And just to show how absurd the situation has become with the Harper government on this issue, when confronted with this growing mountain of evidence that their program doesn't make sense and is unjustified, when they were confronted with all this evidence in Parliament this week, you know what the minister had to say for himself? He said, well, we've been building our labour market policy on a strong foundation. We found research that could be trusted. We found research that's credible. And you know where they're basing their decisions on? Kijiji! The want ads in Kijiji. The minister actually got up in Parliament and said we need the temporary foreign worker program because there's a lot of crappy employers offering crappy wages on Kijiji. Can you believe this? So what's the truth? What's the truth about the temporary foreign worker program? What's the truth about Stephen Harper's temporary foreign worker program? The first conclusion that can be drawn and needs to be drawn is that this is an unnecessary program. The second conclusion that can be drawn and needs to be drawn is that this is a program that's being used by employers to drive down wages, even in a strong economy like Alberta where wages should be going up. The third conclusion that needs to be drawn, especially for all of you here, and we've got a large number of tradespeople here, the third conclusion is a very troubling conclusion. And that is that this temporary foreign worker program is not being used to fill a need, it's being used to flood the market. It's being used to displace Canadians who would otherwise be filling some of the best jobs in our economy. And that's a shame.
What we need to be even more deeply troubled about in this province is, it's not the government of Canada, it's not the Harper Conservatives, it's not the government of Alberta, it's not the Alberta Conservatives that own our resources. We own our resources. We've got two governments here and in Ottawa who are fast-tracking the exploitation of these resources. For whose benefit? I want to take my hat off to those iron workers who are very clear, as Gil has said, there is no resentment to those desperate workers from other countries who have been brought here simply to earn an income to look after their families. But these workers deserve the same chance that many of our families had to come to this country, get established, bring their families, and contribute to the community, not a modern slave trade.
Hi everybody, my name's Travis Johnston. I am a proud father of 4 children, 9 through 12. I also have another child on the way in a few months. I speak on behalf of my children and yours today. I am a longtime member of, as well as supporter of organized labor. In the recent past, all Canadians have witnessed the regression of labor standards and market share with respect to my countrymen and women. I can assure that I wish no ill will on any human being trying to better their lives and the futures of their families. I do, however, struggle with the lack of concern our government has shown for its citizens, whom have, with great trust, placed them in power as representatives of our great nation. Our government has faltered in many ways by failing to represent the best interests of Canadian citizens. When I look out here today at every face before me, I see your children looking back at me and their birthright to a prosperous future and decidedly unstable future.
Hear, hear.
Whether you are union or otherwise, it pains me to see Canadians being left behind in big businesses' attempts to eliminate the middle class by outsourcing employment opportunities to increase profits by theirs. Sorry about this, I'm a pipe fitter. This is no longer about organized labor. It's about protecting the prosperity of our future's generations. There comes a time, and today is the day we say enough is enough. Canadians first!
I want to introduce you to a couple of people that I just asked who their names were, Kyle and Michael. Now, our last speaker kind of touched on this. We're here today because this is not just about what's going on today. This is about a vision that this Conservative government has, whether in Alberta or in Ottawa. This vision is about getting a whole very small group of people a heck of a lot richer and making the rest of us pay for it with lower wages and fewer jobs and lower quality of life. That's not the kind of Alberta that we want. That's not the kind of Canada that we want. That is not the future that we want for our kids. The jobs our grandparents had, the jobs our parents had, the jobs we used to have, some of us, those jobs need to be there for our kids and their kids going forward. And it's up to us to make sure they are.
My name is Dave Egan. I'm the MLA for Edmonton Calder with the Alberta New Democrats. And I stand together here with you and with all of our colleagues in solidarity to get rid of this temporary foreign working program. When I go around into my constituency, I will run across houses that are being used for temporary foreign workers, and it's like something out of the 19th century. The guy that owns the house also owns the Tim Hortons down the road where all of the temporary foreign workers work. I mean, that's so unacceptable. They pay their wages to them. It's like some kind of going back 100 years in terms of labor. And when I look across the world, we got to use common sense here. Learn from other people's mistakes and don't repeat them here in Canada. In countries where they've used temporary foreign worker programs, places like in Europe and in Saudi Arabia, in Israel, it's undermined not just the economy and the wages of those places, but it eats away, I say, too, at the culture and the soul of your community as well. Because if you're bringing people in to do the work that you're not going to do and you're paying them a dirt poor wage, that lessens you as a human being and as a community too. That's not the way we do things here in Canada. That's not the way we do things here in Alberta. There is a better way. Alberta New Democrats will stand with you through thick and thin, and we'll put this to rest, and we'll make something that we can be all proud of. Thank you very much.
We were not able to reach a representative of the Conservative government in time for this show's deadline for a direct response. However, details about the policies of the TFWP can be found at this website.